on Dr. S, we talk with top brain doctor, Maya Finn. Wait, Dr. Finn. Hello. I see we have a sheep brain here.
Yes, it is. It is a adult sheep brain, not that big.
So I would like you to say meninges are the outer covering. Would you like to show us that?
Yes, there are 3 different kinds of meninges: duramater, arachnoid, and piamater. Duramater is the hardest one on the bottom. As you can see, it's very thick. And arachnoid is the spiderweb-like black things in the middle, right over here. And the piamater you can't hardly see, but it is like a film like over the brain that encases it.
Now, discussing basic parts of the brain, the cerebrum. Would you like to explain that?
Yes, the cerebrum is this whole part right over here, and right in the middle of it is the longitudinal fissure that separates the left and the right hemispheres of the brain.
And what are these squiggles, I guess you could call them?
Well, you see the lumps right over here, those are going to be called the gyri, and the little deep grooves are called sulci. But if they are much more deeper and much more enhanced, then they would be called fissures, just as the longitudinal fissure right in the middle. Okay, so the different lobes of the brain. This is right here is going to be the frontal lobe of the brain. Right over here is the parietal, and in the back is the occipital, where the vision of the sheep is controlled at, and the temporal is going to be right beneath it, right over here.
So what portion of the brain focuses on balance?
Okay, so it's going to be the small structure right over here behind the cerebrum. It's called the cerebellum, and it's divided by the transverse fissure. It's also, you could say it as it's caudal to the cerebrum. The definition of caudal, it means that it's towards the tail, so towards the spinal cord.
Let's talk about the ventral side of the brain.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about next is the olfactory bulbs. Those are the olfactory bulbs of the sheep are much larger than a human's because of its great sense of smell. It's important for a sheep's survival since they are usually the prey animals. And next is going to be the X-shaped optic chiasm. It is the base of the optic nerves.
So first we like to talk about this is the brainstem and this is the spinal cord. No misconceptions there because that is a common mistake that I know many people make.
Okay, so what the brain stem consists of is the midbrain right over here, pons, and medulla oblongata right over here.
Luckily, the specimen we have provided has already had a mid-sagittal cut. Dr. Thin will show us some of the main structures of the inner brain.
Okay, so first we're going to talk about the corpus callosum. This is the structure that connects the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. And as you can see here, the corpus callosum and the fornix right below it creates the lateral ventricle, which is filled with CSF fluid, or cerebral spinal fluid. And right underneath it would be the third ventricle, and it would also have CSF in it. And the fourth ventricle is right under the cerebellum. So next is the arbor vitae, which is the structure that's inside the cerebellum. It is made out of white matter, whereas the rest of it outside the arbor vitae is made out of gray matter. The white matter is composed of the myelinated portions, axons of the neuron, and the gray matter consists of cell bodies and dendrites of the neuron.
From my research, I know that this section is the brainstem and this is the spinal cord, with this being the midbrain, this being the pons with the pregnant belly right there, and this the medulla oblongata. And am I correct when I'm saying that this region is the thalamus and this region is the hypothalamus?
Yes, that's correct. And one more structure you're missing is the pineal gland right over here. It has been cut off when we were separating the two halves. And right over here is a part of the pituitary gland, but it has been ripped out when the brain was extracted from the sheep. Gyri, sulcus, hypothalamus, olfactory bulbs, optic chiasm, pituitary gland, fornix, midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, spinal cord, cerebellum, arbor vitae, pineal gland, third ventricle, thalamus, lateral ventricle, and hypothalamus. Fourth ventricle, and the most important one that connects the two hemispheres, corpus callosum.
See you next time on Dr. S.